I am all for cutting down the rainforests. Why? They are a complete waste of space.
You are an antichrist.
Trying to take calls as they come in rather than, Alison having to screen them just to see how that works.
Yes.
So that we don't dislocate the environment here. At BBC Southern Counties Radio, shall I just position us again, or do you want to?
What I need you to do is hit that little flashing light that's on there, or the green light. No, the one that's lit, the green one. That's it. Hit that. No, that one. That's it. And then hit clear call, which is go to the bottom right-hand screen. It's cleared now. That's fine.
Well, thank you for that. In-service training.
That's why it didn't work before.
In-service training. Fantastic.
Oh, we've got another one. Okay. They can wait.
Well, I don't mind trying to
they should be there.
Okay.
Hello.
Good evening, BBC Southern Counties Radio. You're on the air. Hello.
Oh, hello, Tommy. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Who's this?
And to Alison.
Happy
Mary.
New Year. Thank you, Mary. Is that Mary from Winchester?
No, but I'm not from East Grinstead either.
Where else
are you from then?
Let's see if we can guess where you're from.
Let's see if we can guess.
Well,
give us clues. Give us a clue.
Yeah.
And we both have a go each.
Well,
what does it sound like?
It's not far from Brighton, but why I mention East Grinstead is because Margaret rang in to thank the person who rang in a few weeks ago to say that the Anglo-Brazilian Society is
I'm getting
London.
interested in the bypass, you know, now. I'm really finding the bypass quite interesting.
Good. Only Margaret thought that the person came from East Grinstead. Now, strangely enough, I actually went to school in East Grinstead, so she must be psychic. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, can I tell you something? Can I ask you something else?
Yes.
Well, it's rather serious.
Oh, right.
Now, in view of the dire effects of the Asian Tsunami, I believe the demolition of all rainforests should cease immediately. Recently, I saw a TV program where rainforests were being cut down in an eastern country, which, if I recall correctly, was Indonesia. I might be wrong.
I don't know anything about... I don't know any link between the earthquake, which was responsible for the tsunami, and the deforestation of rainforests in Indonesia. What's the connection?
I asked a friend who studies geology, and he said that cutting down the rainforests causes soil erosion, which leads to millions of tons of extra sediment being deposited in the sea. That may build up pressure, which might exacerbate earthquakes. In other words, it might bring them forward.
I can't see this. I can't see this.
Yes, but you're not a geologist, are you?
No, but I'm not an idiot either, and I can't see how cutting down trees causes earthquakes. The earthquake was caused...
I know what it was caused by.
What was it caused by?
It's been on the television enough, about fault lines and things like that, and volcanic eruptions under the sea. We've heard all that, but I have another idea about it, and I'm quite sure many other people do, but they probably...
Look, I haven't done the research.
Well,
you can't bump into somebody who says he's a geologist. You can't.
I'm not.
Hang on. Wait a minute.
Yep.
You can't go round frightening the horses about the rainforests on the basis of what you've got. Because you must remember, this is such an important point. You know, it's like what I call the John Craven's news round syndrome, whereby we constantly tell the children that the planet Earth is in dire straits. It's not. It's fine.
You think so?
No, I know it for a fact, mate. It's better than it's ever been. It's in better hands.
You're living in cloud cuckoo land, mate.
You're living in the... You are living under a black cloud, mate.
Yes.
Yes.
Because there is a black cloud, and if we're not careful, it's going to come to England and wipe off the whole of the south coast, which is forecast by
Hark at you. All this doom and gloom.
Yep.
And it's all rubbish.
We've got to be realistic and look at the causes. We know that the causes are natural, but we are exacerbating them.
Do you know what? Coming on the radio, you should be ashamed of yourself. Coming on the radio saying that people cutting down trees in Indonesia has, as a consequence, the worst disaster in human history.
We're not saying it's as a consequence, we're saying it may have led towards this disaster.
Well, that, if I may say so, is heinous.
Right.
Heinous.
Well, you can think that if you like.
Oh, no, I'm not telling you that that's what I think. I'm telling you that's what it is. It is heinous. To speculate. Will you listen and stop inhaling?
What do you think?
Look, you're not listening.
Change.
You are not listening. Listen.
Are you?
Listen properly. Thank you. I'm asking you not to inhale and start a sentence during the second word of any sentence that I try to communicate with you. Okay? Have you got that?
I think so.
Is that a deal?
Yeah.
Can you do that? Because I can do that.
Yeah, go on then.
It's not difficult.
No, I'm sure it's not. Go on. And what are you going to say?
I'm going to say this. Planet Earth has just experienced the worst natural disaster in its history. We just need to...
Correct.
Yes. We just need to stay there.
Yeah.
We can go looking for causes if that's what people want to do. But this is an act of God. It's a natural occurrence.
And we
I haven't finished.
Okay.
You're desperate to get in, aren't you? Because you're not really...
Because you think
You're not really taking it on board, are you? No, you're not. I'm beginning to wonder about your listening skills. Whether you actually listened to this person. What were the qualifications of this person who said they were a geologist?
Well, actually, he's retired. I didn't say he was a geologist. I said he is studying geology. But
what does that mean?
He's a retired osteopath and naturopath.
Oh, for God's sake, you're bringing warnings to the world about natural disasters and their possible causes from a retired osteopath?
He studies geology.
He's a retired osteopath.
So what?
Well, why didn't you say he was a retired osteopath? Who the hell listens to it?
I?
Because I'll tell you what you do then, mate, alright? Next time your back's got a spasm, go see a geologist.
Oh, right. I might do. I might find a geologist who is also a naturopath.
Gotta go. There's something about some people that means that as soon as something like this happens, rather than dwell... Are you still there?
Yes.
How much have you sent then? If I may ask, how much have you sent so far to the disaster appeal?
I'm not telling you.
Okay, fine, don't. That would be more to the point. Don't you think that would be more to the point?
No, because I think it's action on the ground that's needed. We need people to go out there in helicopters or whatever to deal with all the situations that are still being undealt with. And the money is all being thrown at it. Yes, that's very good.
Thrown at it?
What
do you mean, thrown at it?
The money is all coming in.
What do you mean?
But when are they going to get the action on the ground?
Well, you don't know what that means.
Of course I do.
What does it mean?
Well, I've seen it on the television.
Your life is lived through the television and retired osteopaths. Do you really think...
And people like Tommy Boyd.
No, go on, dear. Go on, dear.
Tommy.
Put the Dracula teeth in and give it a good old shake. Go on, dear. You want to, really, don't you?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, all I will say is that if 2005 sees itself out, and I don't hear anything more ridiculous than the idea that a retired osteopath believes that cutting down the rainforest is responsible for the worst natural disaster in human history, if I don't hear anything more ridiculous than that, I will not be at all surprised.
He didn't actually say that. He just gave me some information which I asked for.
Which was what?
Which was, is any effect in cutting down the rainforest upon the earthquakes and all the disasters which have been taking place over the past years.
Well, there are millions of them. Name me another one.
There have been quite enough of them.
I'll just take the one. I'll just take the one of them.
We're going to. Don't worry about that. We're going to.
I do worry about you. I do worry about people like you who think
that
every 20 minutes there's a natural disaster and somebody's responsible for it. You can't name me one other natural disaster, and yet you said that they've been coming thick and fast down the last years. Name me one more.
You should know them.
I do, but you don't.
Place in America, in the United States, California, everywhere.
This is cloud cuckoo stuff.
Yeah, you're in cloud cuckoo land, mate.
I know what's what. I know which way's up and which way's down.
The Earth and the Amazon rainforest and all the other rainforests.
Have you ever been to the Amazon rainforest?
Not myself.
Well,
no.
I have.
Members of my family have.
Well, I have. What did they tell you about it?
They didn't tell me anything. I just get
Why
my
not? Why didn't
information from other sources.
From the retired osteopaths on the television?
The information is in the public domain.
What does that
mean?
mean?
It's been on television enough times.
Where is this public domain? You make it sound like something from the
I've seen plenty of documentaries.
Alan Fournier, the public domain.
I've seen plenty of documentaries.
Do you know how public?
About what's
do you know
going
how
on
public
in the Amazon rainforest?
You just watched too many editions of John Craven's Newsround. Let me tell you what the public domain is. The public domain is such that only today were we allowed to know.
Yes, I know.
That a patient with a history of mental illness tried to kidnap the Princess Royal in 1974, and she told him to naff off, I haven't got £2 million. And do you know, shush, I want to ask you who has faith in the public domain, why it has taken us 30 years to learn that. That's the question I'm asking you, and nothing else.
Well, one of the things is the Data Protection Act.
And therefore you trust the public domain?
I don't say I trust it. I'm saying that there have been documentaries on television about the effects of cutting down rainforests, and it's common knowledge.
I am all for cutting down the rainforests.
Why?
They are a complete waste of space.
You are an antichrist.
Beautiful. I think we'll leave it there.
Please do. I was just banging my head against the desk. I can't cope.
Oh, baby.
I can't cope.
And we got calls flashing in. What shall I do?
Well, we'll answer the calls in a minute, but can I just say first of all, because I've been dying to say it.
Yes.
What is she on about when she says, don't give money, they need people on the ground?
Yeah.
Where does she think those people come from?
Yeah.
Does she not think that by giving money you help that in some way? But she's in on her telly, and the osteopath told her it'd be okay, so that's all right. I find it so annoying. I'm sorry, and I won't get stressed, but I find it very difficult not to.
I hope, right, that our other halves are not listening to this show so that we can tell them about that call in the morning.
Yes, I won't believe it happened.
My wife says, do you get any interesting calls? And I say, yeah. There was a woman came on who was convinced that the awful occurrence on Boxing Day, you know,
She's not alone, though, and I have to say this, she's not alone. I have had this conversation with people, and we're all traumatised and very upset by what's gone on, and some people's natural reaction is to try and find somebody to blame.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
I did not say that people should not give money. I said it was very laudable and it was very worthwhile.
Are you the woman who just called me the Antichrist?
Yes, I am.
Well, how often do you phone the Antichrist?
I've never spoken to the Antichrist.
Well, I think you ought to put me on your family favourites then, dear. Good evening, you're on BBC Southern Counties Radio. Hello, who's this? Oops.
Press the bottom one there.
This one there?
No, next one.
Oh, that one there.
Yeah.
Good evening, you're on BBC Southern Counties Radio. Hello.
I think we've...
Hello? Oh, you better sort it out next door, Miss Ferns. Where's she gone? Oh, there you are. Okay.
The Antichrist.
Good evening, you're on BBC Southern Counties Radio. Who's this? No. Oh, there's somebody there. Hello? There's somebody breathing.
I think it's her.
Okay. Hello, Southern Counties Radio. No, you're all right, Alison. Whoever it was, he hung up. Give a man a geologist, and this is an email from E2000. It says, give a man a geologist and he'll avert a natural disaster, but give a man a retired osteopath and he'll screw us out of everything. I don't get that, but I think I know what you're driving at. Text message, is this domain the place they put the Freedom of Information Act? Gary. Go on, Tommy. Go, Tommy, I'm with you. Lynn. These are text messages coming in. Thank you. Happy New Year, Tommy and Alison. Great show, as always. Love from Sharon in Guildford. Dear Mr. Boyd, I've listened to you for many weeks and am concerned of treatment. You're probably quite ill. Dr. Collinge. Michael Jackson doesn't play golf. He has not got the balls. Alan in Hastings, yes. Okay, Alan, thank you. Oh, hi, Tommy and Alison. Happy New Year from Rain, Seaford. Keep up the good work. Great, thank you very much indeed for that. And another email from E2000. Give a retired osteopath a fish and he'll feed himself for a day. Give a retired osteopath a boat and he'll replant the wood to avert an earthquake. You can email the show by going to, by typing in the following. Campus Radio. Alison Fern's taking calls next door, so if you're interested in pitching up on the radio and giving us your two penneth, it can be about anything you've heard on the show so far. We had a very heated call from a lady earlier on who wanted to, in my view, frighten the horses by saying that the appalling, tragic earthquake and its consequences for Sri Lanka, India, Indonesia, may have been caused by people cutting down trees in Indonesia. And she got this, she said, from somebody who was a geologist. I thought she said. In fact, she then said, no, actually, it's somebody who has studied geology. In fact, he's a retired osteopath. And my own particular opinion was, A, it's just wrong at this moment in time to start looking for petty culprits for something which is such an obviously natural, whatever that means, disaster. But it is certainly wrong to go knocking around ideas that almost certainly have nothing to do with something as unthinkable as what's happened in that part of the world, that have been spat out socially by a retired osteopath. And so I had a pop at her. Anyway, she's going to complain, the late Alison, the lady who, as I understand it...
I've just had somebody on the phone who wants me to make a formal public apology.
Well, what is this?
For my thoughts earlier on the caller you've just spoken about.
Rise that then. What have you said that's wrong?
Apparently I said that the woman was wrong to say that if you remember, the woman said, you asked her what she'd sent money-wise, and she said, it's not about people sending money, only people on the ground. And I said that the money you send will help those people on the ground. That was wrong of me to do that.
But why don't these people have the balls to come to air and say it? Why? Was this a man or a woman?
It was a woman, and apparently I've upset the woman who was on air going to bed by my comment.
I get cross sometimes.
And also very upset about the fact that you said that the rainforests weren't to blame. Because everyone so wants to have something to blame.
No, everybody wants me to get into trouble. No, not everybody. A small percentage of people who listen to a program like this... Yeah, they want you to get into trouble, it would feed their desire for the world to be the kind of place that would give them a certain amount of comfort. And what is that world? That world is one of unfairness. That world is one of closed thoughts, closed minds, closed eyes, closed ears. That world is one of simple solutions whereby it's somebody else's fault. And somebody else must suffer because it's their fault. And I am so opposed to that cruel and simplistic vision of the solution of what actually isn't a problem, because an earthquake is not a solvable problem. An earthquake is nobody's fault.
It's a natural disaster, and it's tragic, and it's a natural disaster. And people phoning up trying to blame other people.
They're trying to find a human being whose fault it was.
I know.
You know, it would be going too far for me to say how sad and angry that makes me.
I can't even... you can see it in me.
Yeah, I know.
I can't even discuss it because I'm so upset by it.
Are you finding this kind of radio, and I know you've done a lot of it, but do you continue to find it, as I do, illuminating?
I find it illuminating. I actually find it very upsetting as well.
Oh, don't.
Well, I do in a way, because I just feel, and I'm being very honest now, more honest than I should be, but, like everyone listening, I have watched the news over the last few days, and I've been really moved by what I've seen. You know, I really have been. And I cannot understand the people I am now talking to on this switchboard. And it does upset me. Yeah, it really upsets me. And yet I've been so, like, motivated, and my heart's been warmed by the stories of how many people have given money, and that's so lovely. And then I get on this switchboard and I just hear these people, and I just think, where are you coming from?
Yes, being a phone operator on a radio phone-in is something that I did a lot of when phone-in radio began, and I was an oik. I still am an oik, of course, but neither here nor there. And the presenters used to waft out of the studio thoroughly pleased with themselves.
Yeah.
Because they had had such engaging, meaningless conversations with all the nice people who they wanted to talk to. And yours truly, sound like Bob Staunton there for a minute.
You do.
Yours truly.
Yeah, yours truly was out there.
Courtesy of yours truly. Courtesy? What's that mean? Anyway, I used to have to fend off all the rabid types who, and I used to sit there thinking to myself, it would be much more interesting if I fed the rabid types through to the suave phone-in presenter, or jock as they like to call themselves back in those days. You'd have a lot more fun, and I wouldn't have to deal with it myself. But your problem is that a lot of people who have managed to persuade themselves that they are quite rightly angry haven't got the cojones to come to air and talk about it.
I must say, I just spoke to a caller now, and I would never repeat what they said on air.
No.
But it has upset me so much what they have said.
Yes.
And I have to remember that it's such a small percentage of the people who are listening.
Calm down, calm down.
Yeah, calm down, calm down. But, I just... well,
okay, BBC
I think I'll shut up.
I know. BBC Southern Counties Radio. I have to say that the only thing to do in a situation like this, if you find yourself burdened with the thought of the terrible things that have happened in that part of the world from Boxing Day onwards, and those things will not get better for a long, long time, is to work out what you're going to do about it, rather than try and find somebody to blame. I mean, how Daily Mail of you, for God's sake. Tons of calls coming in, but I'm not sure how many of them I'm going to be able to take, due to the my sheer inability to...
If you go to OS2 now, there should be somebody there by the looks of the screen.
OS2, you think, do you?
I thought you've got someone there.
BBC Southern Counties Radio, hello, are you there?
Hello?
Hello, who's this?
A caller.
Hello, caller, what's your name?
Oh, hi, Tommy. Everyone knows the tsunami was a natural disaster. No one has said otherwise.
No, you haven't been listening, have you?
Yes, I have. But I don't think you have, because you've twisted the words that the lady said.
No, I haven't at all.
Yes, you have.
No, I haven't.
She didn't say that it was other than a natural disaster.
Now, what's your name?
I'm not telling you.
No, you've got to go then if you're not going.
But I'll tell you something.
No, you're going to go unless you tell me your name now.
All right, Mary.
Right, are you another Mary? We've got lots of Marys tonight.
Now, Ruche is spelled R-U-C-H-E, and kerfuffle is in the dictionary.
Stick to the point. Let me ask you a question. How good are you at having conversations?
It depends who I'm conversing with.
Well, you decided you want to talk to me. Are you any good at it?
I wouldn't say yay or nay.
Well, then I'll make the judgment,
Not for me to say.
Right.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
Yeah. Well, it just involves listening and then rejoining to what you've heard.
And not twisting people's words.
Now, the caller who called wanted to find somebody to blame for the scale of the disaster of the tsunami. And I find that reprehensible at this moment in time. Reprehensible.
They weren't blaming anyone.
You're lying.
They were saying it was...
No, you're lying.
Disaster.
You're lying because you want me to be wrong. Not because you want the truth, but because you would prefer for me to be wrong. The caller said that she had been told by somebody who knew something about geology that the impact of the tsunami might have been greater because people had been cutting down trees in Indonesia.
That's exactly it.
Yes, and that's reprehensible.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, how do you know otherwise?
Because I'm a broadcaster, and I'm a journalist, and I'm a man.
Well, how do you... Oh, God, that says a lot, doesn't it?
Get to your point. Make your point. Make your point. Make it as well as I've made my point.
Well, I think you just twisted the person's words. You twisted that lady's words. She never said that the tsunami wasn't a natural disaster.
What was she trying to do with her point?
She was just trying to say that things that we do to the earth can exacerbate these things, possibly.
So what's her point?
Well, that's her point, that rainforests...
What's her point about the tsunami?
That the rainforest...
What's her point about the tsunami?
Cutting down should be should cease immediately.
Is she saying that the disaster was made worse by people cutting down trees?
It could well be. And
she
who
saying-
are you to say that it wasn't?
I'll tell you who am I to say that it wasn't. At this moment in time, there is so much humanity involved in this terrible disaster that to go round flicking out petty little bits of blame based on what's a retired osteopath speculated is reprehensible. I'll just stick with that word because I could be so much more honest, but I won't, because my thoughts, as yours should be and hers should be, are still with the victims of this terrible disaster, so much so that the notion of going and hunting for some kind of perpetrator is reprehensible. I'm not going to go further.
Good.
That's my view.
Well, I think
But you would be more interested in finding out that I was wrong.
Not at all.
Absolutely.
Not at all.
Totally.
Who cares if you're right or wrong?
You do.
I only care about what's happening to the Earth at the moment. We are destroying our Earth.
I'm not. You might be. You can use your personal plural if you want to. I don't. I'm not. You might be.
You are when you say that it's quite all right to cut down the rainforests.
I don't have a problem with it.
No.
No.
You wouldn't, would you?
No.
Anyway,
maybe I haven't watched John Craven's news round as much as you have.
You do have a problem with your spelling.
You ever been to the rainforests?
You've asked that before.
Well, have you been on before?
People. I have not been to the rainforest.
Fine, I have. What do you want to know about
Good.
them? What do you want to know about them?
I think I know quite enough to know that
From John Craven's news round.
Cutting down the rainforest is detrimental both to our climate and our environment. And that's all I have to say.
Well, you don't know too much about your subject, and I don't want you to be frightened. I wish you weren't frightened, and I feel terrible that the business that I'm in...
Frightened.
You are.
No.
Yes, you are.
I'm not.
Well, you should be. If what you're saying
I know
is
that
true...
from now on, if we start looking
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
things might change for the better.
If what you believe is true, you should be frightened. What are you then?
I'm not frightened.
Well, what are you?
I'm just a person, an ordinary person.
No, I mean, what emotion do you get from what you believe to be the truth?
I get anger.
Okay, don't be angry.
From the fact that people are cutting down the rainforest.
Don't be angry. Because you get your information from the business that I work in, and 99% of it is rubbish.
Well...
And I know that because I've been to the rainforests, and I've worked for 30 years in broadcasting and the media.
Mm-hmm. And you think that...
I know where you've been getting...
the rainforest has no effect on our climate.
You've been getting your information from people I know.
People who know the facts. Okay.
Do you think that's what broadcasters and journalists are? People who know the facts?
Some are.
Who?
They vary, don't they?
Which ones? How do you know which ones to trust?
It's pretty obvious.
How does that work?
Most of the time.
Go on, tell me. Give me a bit more on that.
No, I'm not going to go any further.
Because you can't, can you?
Because I'm not going off the
Shall I tell you who you tend to believe?
Mm-hmm.
You tend to believe the doom-mongerers.
Well, I think we all ought to give them some heed.
Just because they're doom-mongerers?
No, yes, certainly, if it's the truth.
Supposing that they're just pandering to what you have declared you want to hear or read.
Why should they? Why
because
should
that
they
makes
pander?
Why do you think? Why should they give you what you want? Why should a media outlet give you, the listener, the reader, the viewer, what you want? Why should they do that?
Part of the media is engaged in telling the truth.
Which one?
Oh, I'm not going to tell you. You should know. You're a journalist. You know more than I do.
I certainly
about
do.
The media.
But you're the one who's telling me about the media. You're the one who's telling me about your powers of discernment. You're the one who's telling me you know who to trust.
Yes,
tell me.
I do.
Who?
The people who speak the truth.
And how do you know which ones are they?
It's pretty obvious.
You've already said that, but give me more.
No.
Why?
Because you should know.
Because you can't.
You should know.
You can't. I do, but I could tell you.
Well, I can't list them all off name by name.
You couldn't list one.
I'm not going to cause any disruption on the radio.
You can't,
by naming names.
You can't.
No.
You can't. You can't.
Well, because there aren't many of them, frankly, but there are one or two who speak the truth.
You don't know who they are. You believe that somebody who's saying something that fits your picture of the world is telling the truth.
If documentaries are put on the television about the Amazon rainforest from people who are actually there on the ground talking to the tribes whose lives have been ruined by what's going on, then I think we can believe them. And that's all I have to say. Good night.
Good night, darling. Good night. Well, I think that goes for all of us, because I tend to believe people who are saying things that fit my picture of the world. But I'm aware of that. She's not. That's the difference. Big difference. Big boogie difference. 08459570057 is the number. If you'd like to go to air, you can email us, tommy.boyd@bbc.co.uk. Diane Pearce has emailed to say, let me tell you that Tommy Boyd has been the most offensive tonight than any other night. That's not true. People have views, and to ridicule them for them is bloody terrible. Everyone is entitled to an opinion. No! Everyone is not entitled to an opinion, woman! Everyone is not entitled to express an opinion. Which is what you mean. Everybody is not entitled to express an opinion. We've been through this before. If you want to express an opinion, you have to be sure of your facts, and you have to research them yourself. You have to show that you have the necessary grey matter to apportion weight and merit to the points that you consider to be important. And when you've done that, and you've formed some kind of an opinion, and this is the crucial bit, you have to be certain that in expressing it you're going to do more good than harm. So Diane Pearce, no, everyone is not entitled to express an opinion. She says everyone is. Everybody. What a load of old rubbish. A few weeks ago I was called appalling for asking for respect about the Matthew Kelly situation. Why? Because Tommy is a celebrity pal of his. I don't understand your point, Diane. If you are the caller or the emailer that I think you are, you're somebody who made illegal accusations or insinuations, to be precise, about somebody who has done nothing wrong. Simple as that. You really do need to change, to get your act sorted, Diane Pearce. You really, really do. There's a lot of work to be done. Gary Hindle has emailed the show. Dear sir, I was going to email you about Star Trek, but listening on the World Wide Web, I want to tell you about the rainforests. They are our lifeblood, man. Ha ha! They're not. They give out oxygen which we need. They do, but not a lot. It's mostly from the sea. How can you argument about that? I am all for cutting down the rainforests. They are a complete waste of space.
You are an antichrist.
Trying to take calls as they come in, rather than
Yeah.
Alison having to screen them, just to see how that works.
Yes.
So that we don't dislocate the environment here. At BBC Southern Counties Radio, shall I just position a scan, or do you want to?
What I need you to do is hit that little flashing light that's on there, or the green light. No, the one that's lit, the green one. That's it. Hit that. No, that one. That's it. And then hit clear call, which is go to the bottom right-hand screen. It's cleared now. That's fine.
Oh, thank you for that. In-service training.
That's why it didn't work before.
In-service training. Fantastic.
Oh, we got another one. Okay. They can wait.
Well, I don't mind trying to...
They should be there.
Okay.
Hello?
Good evening, BBC Southern Counties Radio. You're on the air. Hello.
Oh, hello, Tommy. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Who's this?
And to Alison.
Happy
Mary.
New Year. Thank you, Mary. Is that Mary from Winchester?
No, but I'm not from East Grinstead either.
Where else
Where are you from then?
Let's see if we can guess where you're from.
Let's see if we can guess.
Well,
give us clues. Give us a clue.
Yeah.
And we both have a go each.
Well,
What does it sound like?
It's not far from Brighton, but why I mention East Grinstead is because Margaret rang in to thank the person who rang in a few weeks ago to say that the Anglo-Brazilian Society is
I'm getting
London.
interested in the bypass, you know, now. I'm really finding the bypass quite interesting.
Good. Only Margaret thought that the person came from East Grinstead. Now, strangely enough, I actually went to school in East Grinstead, so she must be psychic. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Well, can I tell you something? Can I ask you something else?
Yes.
Well, it's rather serious.
Oh, right.
Now,
that the planet Earth is in dire straits. It's not. It's fine.
You think so?
I know it for a fact, mate. It's better than it's ever been.
You're
in better hands.
living in cloud cuckoo land, mate.
You're living in the... You are living under a black cloud, mate.
Yes.
Yes.
Because there is a black cloud, and if we're not careful,
we've
it's going to come to England and wipe off the whole of the south coast, which is forecast
Hark at you. All this doom and gloom.
Yep.
And it's all rubbish.
We've got to be realistic and look at the causes. We know that the causes are natural, but we are exacerbating them.
Do you know what? Coming on the radio, you should be ashamed of yourself. Coming on the radio saying that people cutting down trees in Indonesia has, as a consequence, the worst disaster in human history.
We're not saying it's as a consequence, we're saying it may have led to... In view of the dire effects of the Asian Tsunami, I believe the demolition of all rainforests should cease immediately. Recently I saw a TV programme where rainforests were being cut down in an eastern country, which, if I recall correctly, was Indonesia. I might be wrong.
I don't know anything about... I don't know any link between the earthquake, which was responsible for the tsunami, and the deforestation of rainforests in Indonesia. What's the connection?
I asked a friend who studies geology, and he said that cutting down the rainforests causes soil erosion, which leads to millions of tons of extra sediment being deposited in the sea. That may build up pressure, which might exacerbate earthquakes. In other words, it might bring them forward.
I can't see this. I can't see this.
Yes, but you're not a geologist, are you?
No, but I'm not an idiot either, and I can't see how cutting down trees causes earthquakes. The earthquake was caused...
I know what it was caused by.
What was it caused
It's been on the television enough, about fault lines and things like that, and volcanic eruptions under the sea. We've heard all that, but I have another idea about it, and I'm quite sure many other people do, but they probably...
Look, I haven't done the research.
Well,
you can't bump into somebody who says he's a geologist. You can't.
I'm not...
Hang on, wait a minute.
Yep.
You can't go round frightening the horses about the rainforests on the basis of what you've got. Because you must remember, this is such an important point. It's like what I call the John Craven's news round syndrome, whereby we constantly tell the children